and welcome to the Narrowing Path, walking the spiritual walk. My name is Stephen Einstein. Thank you all for joining me again today as we go through and we do August 8th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. I'm really looking forward to it. And this is going to, of course, be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning this will be the first time that I hear or read this meditation right on this podcast with you. Also, you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So it's always a journey with these. Yesterday's, I really did enjoy yesterday's. Just the taking on of certain qualities and choosing to live a certain way and have certain quality of character, regardless of circumstance. That's always a great one to think of and be reminded of. And I just really enjoyed that yesterday. So here we go. This will be, again, August 8th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. To become possessed of a knowledge of the law of love, to enter into conscious harmony with it, is to become immortal, invincible, indestructible. It is because of the efforts of the soul to realize this law that men come again and again to live, to suffer, and to die. And when realized, suffering ceases, personality is dispersed, and the fleshly life and death are destroyed. The law is absolutely impersonal, and its highest manifested expression is that of service. When the purified heart has realized truth, it is then called upon to make the sacrifice of the well-earned enjoyment of truth. It is by virtue of this sacrifice that the divinely emancipated soul comes to dwell amongst the lowliest and least, and to be esteemed the servant of all mankind. The spirit of love is alone singled out as worthy to receive the unstinted worship of posterity. I that one resonates with me because in the recovery community, the 12-step recovery community, to be of service is really the greatest honor. I know that's practiced in some Eastern religions as well, I believe. The greatest gift is to be able to serve another human being, to be of service to them, and to help in the best way possible. And so this really cuts to the core of purpose, maybe. The highest person someone can really strive to achieve, I believe, is when you become aware of the law of love, is what he's saying. You start to become of service to others because that's the ultimate expression of love. I mean, that's really how love is mostly expressed, is in your interactions and being of service to another human being in any capacity, however that looks, right? It's a pretty, to me, it was a foreign concept before I started living this way of life. Everything to me was all about me, right? Every decision I made, I did with myself in mind. Every person I helped, I did with myself in mind. Everything. There was no, um, there was no exceptions, really. It was always just about me. So this was a whole new perspective to take on when I started getting sober and living a spiritual way of life. So, all right, so here we go. Let's go through this one line by line. To become possessed of a knowledge of the law of love is to enter into conscious harmony with it, and to become immortal, invincible, indestructible. Those are some big words at the end there, isn't it? Those are some really powerful words, really strong words. And I believe that they're true. That's the fun. That's honestly almost the laughable thing for me is I believe them. And immortal, invincible, and indestructible. Because when you become in line with these things, when we become how to say it, a part of, when you start practicing this way of living, when you start practicing a spiritual lifestyle, right? You become joined with this law of love. And the law of love is immortal. It's eternal. It's always been there. It'll always be there. It's the principle of this universe. Invincible and indestructible. There's nothing that can touch it. And because you're becoming a part of it, you can't be touched in the sense of like your spirit, your soul, your peace, your inner being is not accessible to the material world anymore because it has no bearing or impact on it. You've given up any dependencies, any attachments to it, and you rely and embrace that law of love and that stream of life. And suddenly these become true, which is incredibly a powerful place to be. An incredibly powerful place to be. And a peaceful, calm place to be, to have that knowing. It is because of the effort of the soul to realize this law that men come again and again to live, to suffer, and to die. And when realized suffering ceases, personality is dispersed, and fleshly life and death are destroyed. This is what we seek, right? There's so many that seek. It's referred to by many names. It's a feeling of loneliness. It's a hole in the soul, as some circles call it, right? It's fear. It's uncomfortable. It's not feeling comfortable in your own skin, not thinking you're in the right body, not thinking you're of this world, of this planet, disconnected. It is those emotions, it is those feelings that drive us to find and that we suffer through looking for that contentment and that peace that the law of love brings to us fully and openly. But we don't look for it there. We look for it in other places. We look for it in the material world. We look for it in many, many places that will cause destruction, pain, separation from it even further, actually, a self-serving life that harms all that it comes in contact with, including yourself. That was the way I was living. But when we actually realize this law of love, when we actually can connect with it and come in union with it almost, the suffering stops. Because we have that connection and that peace and serenity, that peace of soul that we've been striving for and looking for and desperately looking to calm for so long. Suffering ceases. Personality is dispersed. This false self that we put towards the world, that we define ourselves by, that we believe is who we are, because our ego says we need to be somebody. And that fleshly life and death are destroyed. There's no attachment to either, so it's a disconnection. It's a acceptance of life and death, and that without one, the other is unnecessary. Life and death are on the same spectrum. They are the same. They're on the same coin. We disconnect from that. It's no longer a guidepost for our desperation, maybe. We feel that sense of pressure is gone. At least it is for me. The law is absolutely impersonal, and its highest manifested expression is that of service. And I believe that. That's been the closest, the most peace I have is when I have of service to another. The most I've ever felt at home was when I was not thinking in the least bit about myself. The most peace I've ever had was there. Genuinely wanting to help somebody do something for the right reasons. And that was something I had never really done before. Absolutely, the law is absolutely impersonal. It doesn't have much to do with me as this personality that I want to be. Actually, it doesn't matter who you are. Its highest manifested expression is of service, that of service, right? Your money doesn't matter, your status doesn't matter, your prestige doesn't matter, your job doesn't matter. That's all that it is. To be of service to our fellow man. When the purified heart has realized sacrifice of the well-earned, when the purified heart has realized truth, it is then called upon to make the sacrifice of the well-earned enjoyment of truth. So when we realize the law of love, we have to start to be of service. It is by virtue of this sacrifice that the divinely emancipated soul comes to dwell amongst the lowliest and least, and to be esteemed the servant of all mankind. Those people that get classified as the lowliest and the least, that's who we end up providing service to the most and love to the most. Those are usually the ones that need it the most. That connection with another human being, that altruistic air about another person who's genuinely showing up to do the right thing and to be of service to those who may need the help, rather than to be something written on a resume or making sure that everyone knows that you volunteer. Right? It's a much different thing. We help those who need help. We have service to those who need love, need to be shown the spirit of love. To be the esteemed servant of mankind is the opportunity that we are afforded, and graciously and happily accept. Now, the last closing line: the spirit of love is alone singled out as worthy to receive the unstinted worship of posterity. I'm going to look up posterity just to make sure we're all on the same page here. all future generations of people, the descendants of a person. So the spirit of love is the only thing worthy to receive the worship of all generations to come. What a definite, refined, not refined, but just such an impactful statement, maybe. But the word I'm looking for. Spirit of love is alone singled out as worthy to receive the unstinted worship of posterity. It's the only thing worthy to be received by anyone of any time. To receive worship from anyone of any time until the end of days, to the end of humans. That is love. Love should always be practiced, always embraced, because that is what has always been. Which is a pretty amazing thing. And again, this is something that has always resurfaced in our histories, and why I do believe that there's something to it. And that why I do believe that this path is wide enough for all to participate in, and is the path that all will eventually, through whatever path they, through whatever introduction they find, will walk. So, well, all right. That is the end of the reading for today. Thank y'all for joining me again for another fantastic reading from James Allen. I do like the direction this is beginning to take. Just a solid start to August after a mind-blowing July, that's for sure. So thank y'all for joining me for August 8th, and we'll be back again tomorrow for August 9th. So until next time, thanks.